Wakey wakey sleepyheads. Brian and the girls opened their eyes sometime later to find Sarah standing smiling over them. Looking over at the window, they could see it was still daylight out, but it was definitely later in the day. They had actually taken a nap. Their mommies had been right about them being tired after all. Come on, you're three, nap time is over. We need to get some nummies in those tummies now. We're gonna eat. Brian asked his mom. Yep, Rachel and Megan's mommies went and picked up their little brother and sister so we can all go out to dinner. We're all going to Pasta Pete's, Sarah announced. Brian swallowed a groan. Pasta Pete's was a local family restaurant, always filled with annoying kids and squalling babies. It wasn't the kind of place college kids ever ate at. In fact, he couldn't remember going there since he was about 10. Still, he forced a smile, remembering the decision they'd made to play along until they had the book again. They followed Brian's mom back downstairs to the living room where the other two moms were already waiting. As they entered the room, Brian got his first look at Dan, Rachel's little brother. She'd said before that he was dressed and acting like a toddler, so Brian was interested to see if the second reality shift had changed him as well. As soon as they set eyes on the 18-year-old young man, they knew the world had shifted for everyone once again. When they were kindergartners, he'd been a toddler. Now that they were somewhere in the terrible twos themselves, it appeared he had gone even further back. Since his body hadn't changed, it was hard to gauge his mental age exactly, but from his dress and behavior, Brian figured the kid was about 18 months rather than years now. Danny was sitting on his bottom in the middle of the room wearing a small green striped t-shirt and a bulky white diaper. The puffy garment was certainly no set of pull-ups, that was for sure. He wore no pants over the diaper either, his long bare legs, smooth and hairless like Brian's, splayed out before him. He wiggled the toes on his bare feet back and forth idly as he scribbled aimlessly with an awkwardly held green crayon across a sheet of paper between his legs. The sight of Danny grinning while he scribbled with crayon was nothing compared to what was going on just across the room. There Amanda was sitting with her daughter Sue on the couch. All three of them stopped where they were and gaped at what was happening before their eyes. Sue was dressed in a fuzzy yellow onesie, her crinkly white diaper sticking out of it a bit around the leg holes. Her smooth bare legs were draped across the couch as her body lay across her mom's lap. They couldn't see her face, only the back of her head, the thin wild hair tied up in a single hairband so it stood straight up. In the silence that fell when the trio froze, all they could hear was the scribble of Danny's crayon on paper and Sue's suckling. Amanda was gently rubbing the teen's back and whispering into the overgrown baby's ear. Rachel seemed to be the most disturbed by the sight, covering her mouth tightly as though trying not to vomit. Brian was having a different but equally embarrassing reaction. Physically, he was still very much a guy, and so he couldn't help but stare at the scene on the couch,